Let's move to Wednesday night. We've got Liberty taking on Kennesaw State. We've got Liberty 24-point road favorites, 46 the total. I said this on Twitter X, and sometimes over exaggerations can happen, and sometimes it's you blow things a little out of proportion. There's no blowing it out of proportion with that Kennesaw State Middle Tennessee State game last week. That was the ugliest game and probably the ugliest betting winner and point spread winner I've ever had in my lifetime. Honestly, that I covered with Kennesaw State last week is a sheer miracle in that game, because the offense spent the better part of 4 quarters against one of the worst defenses in college football, Middle Tennessee State, which shows how bad Kennesaw's offense is. They spent almost 4 fucking quarters barely able to complete a forward pass, barely able to get 1 first down in that football game. And somehow is 10 and a half, 9.5 point dogs. They squeaked out a point spread cover for me last week against Middle Tennessee State. Had to be the ugliest, most disgraceful football game I've seen in a very long time. It was pathetic on both sides. Middle Tennessee wasn't much better. 14 points. One of them was a punt return touchdown. They did have the only offensive touchdown of the game, but the other one came on a punt return. So it's not like Middle Tennessee's offense was anything great. I do feel bad for Kennesaw's defense. Kennesaw's defense actually has been decent at times, but this offense, man, it doesn't even matter anymore. Khalib Johnson, Braden Bohannon, Ian Cameron, Connor Mack, probably put them in there, put us in there too. This offense, the offensive line's bad. There's no run game to speak of. The quarterback play is horrendous. 103 passing yards between the 2 QBs last week and 2 interceptions. And the problem for Kennesaw is, look, you can get away with scoring 5 points and covering the point spread against Middle Tennessee. Score 5 points in this game against Liberty, you're not covering the point spread. That's going to end up, and even though you're 24-point dogs, you're going to have a very difficult time if that's the offense you're going to bring to the table. It was offensive watching that Kennesaw State. They were offensive, all right, offensive in the bad sense of the word last week against Middle Tennessee. Meanwhile, Liberty, ugly win against FIU a couple weeks ago. We haven't seen them play in a couple weeks. They're off a bye. Jamie Chadwell's team, 31-24 against FIU. They needed overtime to win that game, so it wasn't pretty. And there's been something about Liberty, CMAC, as double-digit favorites they've been terrible. Let's call it out for what it is. They're 0-4 against the numbers, double-digit chalk this year, the Liberty Flames. So this has not been their price range, especially on the road now, where we've seen them at times have these lethargic, lackluster performances. Their one and only road game before this one was at New Mexico State, similar price range, 22-point road favorites. They won by 6. It was life and death to escape with the win. So I don't want no part of this. I can't take Kennesaw again after what I saw last week. That offense is wretched, and if that's the offense they have here, they're going to have a tough time covering. But Liberty's been a disaster as double-digit favorites, 0-4 ATS this year. So pass. There's no reason to get involved here for me. CMAC, what do you think?
Yeah, someone just put it in your Dom in the chat. Like, I kind of, if you gave that to me, I'd say, yeah, Liberty's team total. I mean, it's 34.5. But I don't know. Like, Jacksonville, they should just be able to run it here. This Kennesaw defense, bottom of the barrel against the pass and the run. They give up 187 on the ground. But other than that, the Jacksonville State, who got 63. I mean, San Jose State at 31, ULL 34. UTSA just had 28. These are all the home games for them.
Somehow Middle Tennessee couldn't run it on Kennesaw last week.
Yeah, and all of a sudden,
run game for them. Yeah,
Middle Tennessee doesn't have this offense. That's great, but I don't know what to do here. Kennesaw State, I don't know how they score. It's good, and both these teams have been dreadful. I mean, as Liberty's 5-0, but 1-4 ATS to hit on, they're not making you any money, especially laying this number. Can this get going finally this week? Like this, if you're ever going to say this would be the team, the 0-6 and 1-5 ATS, Kennesaw, who, like you just talked about, luckily covered or put, depending on where you got the number. I mean, this is tough. Like, this isn't the Liberty of last year where you could just pencil this in and it seems like you'd win, like a team total or even cover the number. They for sure win, but 24.5. I can't take Kennesaw. I just can't do it. No. Like, I can't. I just can't take that as
I'm going to take that money and run Steve Miller style, Steve Miller band style, and that's it. I'm not coming back this week.
I don't blame you. I don't know how
they
get
Kennesaw for this guy this week. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a struggle, whether it was Johnson or Bohannon back there. I mean, whew. And Johnson had a couple picks.
Oh yeah.
Too. Can we see a breakout like from Liberty? It's like
I
it
guess
just hasn't been there.
They could, because they are off a bye, Liberty, and I don't think Liberty and Chadwell, the coach, is going to be thrilled with the way they played against FIU.
They are FIU.
Yeah,
but that's been every week, man. I mean, he said that against East Carolina because I thought maybe. I mean, I'm glad I've stayed off. I haven't been on Liberty all year, but I mean, these were home games for them. Like whether it was the UTEP, ECU, FIU, just. You know, they should get. I mean, I'd look. Yeah, if I had to, I'd take that team total 34.5, maybe. If I had to get here.
Yeah, Salter's regressed a little bit. I agree 100%, Dom. He's not playing like he did last year.
He's just kind of going through
Salter. Yeah,
the motions a little bit. I don't know. Maybe these kids, you know, not a lot of maybe hope to prove. Who knows?
I think they look bored at times. You know, New Mexico, UTEP, I mean, they played some. This has been a weak ass schedule. They haven't played anybody good, and East Carolina was supposed to be good. And they haven't been. And now here's another one. Is this going to stimulate the kids to win in beatdown fashion by 4 touchdowns of playing lowly Kennesaw? Is that going to get them excited? A trip to Kennesaw? That's a concern, too. You got to have in the back of your mind playing these points.
For sure.